At the stage, Master of Ceremonies, Hrund Gunnsteinsdottir, founder of Crad Consulting, entrepreneur and chair of the Technology Development Fund in Iceland.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I hope you've had a good night's sleep after an amazing day yesterday, an amazing evening and reception of perception and dinner. It's great to have you all here again. We are gathered here in this amazing, inspiring, powerful conference. People from around 80 countries in the world, 400 individuals. So I'm happy and honored to present the next session, which is called Lead Like a Girl. I would like to call to the stage the chair of the session, Silvana Koch-Merin, who is the president and founder of the Women Political Leaders Global Forum. I would also like to welcome Michelle Parmelee, Global Chief Talent Officer at Deloitte. Nur Hayati Al-Assegaf, Member of Parliament, Chairwoman of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation of the House of Representatives of Indonesia, World Political Leader, Executive Board Member. And then obviously this amazing group of young women, the leaders of the future. Let's give them a hand. And specifically, I would like to name three of their delegates who will be joining the others in the podium. These are Lauren Shum, Ryoko Ernst Heitz, and Megan Pierce.
Thank you, Hun. Good morning, everybody. I think there's no better way to start the day than with a session like this, which is just giving us so much perspective why we're actually doing what we're doing. Why are we here? Why do we talk about equality between women and men? Of course, it's about us, but it's so much more about the next generation. So I'm really thrilled to have you here and have all these girl delegates from different countries, different organizations, which are sort of under the umbrella of Girl to Leader, a campaign that Women Political Leader launched last year on the Day of the Girl, 11th of October. Last year and this year, 11th of October, we focused on politics. The initial idea coming from women political leaders had been, you know, we need to start early, getting women into politics. It's not enough when they're in their mid-20s and 30s. Already as young girls, as teenagers, we want to sort of plant the thought, a woman's place is parliament and political leadership, that could be something for me. Definitely, I need to understand I have a voice and my voice counts. So that's what we started, and we had this year on the 11th of October, Day of the Girl, in 21 parliamentarians from 21 countries hosting Girl to Leader delegates and introducing them to the work of a politician, of a woman in politics. And coming here in preparation for the Women Leaders Global Forum, we said we want to broaden this. We want to broaden this to leadership as such, because we want to, again, make young women, girls, encourage them in their ambition to not become the assistant to a CEO, but to become the CEO. To not become the assistant in a laboratory, but to become the head of a laboratory. To not help on the way of publications for a Nobel award on something, but to receive it. We want to really, by connecting with ambitious and capable young girls, young women, to further that campaign. And I'm very happy to be partnering with really amazing organizations like Girls 20, which Lauren is coming from, or Running Start, where Megan is here from. And this again is this idea of collaboration, power together, that we join organizations which share the same goal and also further that thought. And on this panel here, Michelle from Deloitte, who's partnering through the throughout the forum with the campaign, and Nuyahati, who's been very passionate and active in this. And Ryoko, a very young delegate here, who's been very active and passionate about this campaign. To start it off, we showed 2 very short videos about the campaign as such. So you can see the ambition is high for these girls, that we have at least, and the confidence and trust we put in them. And I'm very happy to see in the audience here, like Donatile Mukabalisa, Speaker of Rwandan Parliament, or Jewel Taylor, Vice President of Liberia, and others who hosted campaign events past October. So let me start with you, because we start from the political ground, and you have a background in social activism, and then went to the highest levels of politics, if I may say so, but never lost the passion of bringing girls, bringing young people into politics. What's your, what drives you there?
Okay.
I think it's on.
Thank you, Silvana. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Peace be upon all of you, and very good morning. It's very interesting to be here with this girl to leader. Silvana, I really appreciate the work of WPL, Woman Political Leader, for having such a good idea to groom the girl to leader. Because I think that this is what we really need to do, as you said, that starting from the earlier. Then how would I do that? Since that I was in social activism, of course, that as I mentioned before to the Girl to Leaders, I said that my philosophy in life is sharing, caring, sharing, and loving. So by this, you can go to the social, of course, because you care to people, you share, and you love them. Then when it was, because Indonesia, we start reform in 1998. So at that time that I was one of the activism who make the reform in the 1998. Then in the reform that many people asked me to join the political party. But then I didn't jump into it because people said that this is your opportunity. You will never get this opportunity again. But for me, opportunity, it's not only come at once. The moment, yes, but not the opportunity, because we can create opportunity when we are ready. Then I was in the 2003, I joined the political party, but I have to see, I did the window shopping, you see, because I don't want to jump to the political party, and I don't know whether they are with the woman or not. They're in favor with the woman or not. So I try to do the window shopping, and I think that my heart goes to the Democrat Party, which I know that they give a chance to the woman. Then with that political party, I can reach the highest position in the party, which now I'm the vice president in the political party. And then I also, the first Indonesian woman who lead the biggest political party in the House with 148. So what I'm trying to say, keep on believing that caring, sharing, and loving can be your passion to do anything to help the people by loving the people, caring and sharing. Because I believe that sharing is not taking from you, but it's give you more, because more satisfaction that you cannot buy. It's a really valuable things that you do with others. This is what I teach also my children, you know. Never eat alone. When you have someone in front of you, you have to share. Don't think that sharing, taking from you. But by sharing, you will have more happiness, more satisfaction. This is what I keep telling all of you girls.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And it so much goes in line with what we heard yesterday on the power of kindness, but also on redefining the context of power and the context of what does it mean to be a leader. And you're very passionate about sharing your experiences, sharing it with us, but next generation as well. So thank you for that, Nohayati. Ryoko, if I can turn to you. You've been to several of the Girl to Leader events and in the European Parliament, but also in Lithuania this year. And tell me a bit, what do you think is perspective for future leaders? You want to hold it or should I hold for you? What do you prefer? Okay.
Thank you. So as mentioned, my name is Ryoko. I'm 16 and I live in Brussels. I'm tremendously grateful to be here today. I've been extremely lucky to have attended, speak, and run sessions at women political leader conferences in Brussels, Vilnius, and Reykjavik. Through these conferences, I've not only learned a lot and met incredible women and men, but I've grown so much. It's boosted my motivation and self-confidence. Actually, last year, right here in Iceland, I was invited to give a short remark. I was really nervous, as I'm right now, to speak in front of all these important women, and I froze. I got lost in my words, yet I could not be more grateful for that moment. I was, instead of being silently invited off stage, I was cheered on, I was supported. I felt like I was part of a community. I would like all girls and women to feel as empowered and supported as I felt on that moment on stage. Women are still underrepresented in positions of power, such as in politics, science, mathematics, or even CEOs. Women need to be in the room where it happens. Girls need to be in the room where it happens. As said in Hamilton, I want to be in the room where it happens. Young women and girls should be able to shape their own future. They also provide a much-needed new and different perspective to problem solving. Through education of not only young girls, but also young boys, or men, because they're an important part of the equation, we would go one step forward towards achieving a more equal world. Through solidarity and collaboration of people of all genders, generations, cultures, and ethnicities at conferences like this one, we can create a stronger, happier, and more equal world. So thank you to WPL for providing us a platform to keep the conversation going. Thank you to everyone who is here, who has helped make this possible. Now we can all go home in our hometowns and share these experiences. The conversation starts here, but it won't end here. Together, we can make a difference.
Wow. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Ryoko. This was just wonderful. And sharing your nervousness and your vulnerability with all of us. And believe me, everybody in this room, I think also people here on stage who are speaking or will speak, share this nervousness. So afterwards you can eat something, because before I offered her a strawberry, she said no. But we all know that feeling, right? And that's so important to be honest about it. Michelle, can I turn to you as a very accomplished female business leader? You're in the highest ranks of Deloitte globally. You're also dealing with talent, with discovering, scoping who are the ones who have that talent, to build it up. And how do you maybe if you could give us some thoughts on the importance of really enabling female leadership in a business context and from your really kind of broad experience.
Sure, happy to. Good morning, everyone. So I represent Deloitte. We're a purpose-led organization. Our purpose is to make an impact that matters for our clients, for our people, for society. And in line with that, we have 5 global shared beliefs, and 2 of them are really relevant to our presence here today. One is to excel through diversity and inclusion, and the second is to lead the way. We all know that business and that society thrives when people of different backgrounds and viewpoints come together to solve challenges, and to solve challenges in an inclusive environment where everyone is free to be their authentic selves, be vulnerable, share their viewpoints. We also know how important diversity and inclusion is to people, particularly our young people, our millennials, our Gen Z generation. We do an annual survey of these populations, and we find that the number one key to retaining millennials and Gen Zers is the level of diversity within an organization. That's what they're really aiming to do. So as an organization, you can create a purpose and beliefs, and you can intellectually understand the importance of diversity and inclusion. But to really make it happen, you need to get commitment from the top. Set the right tone at the top, and then create a strategy with decisive action against that strategy. And that's what we're doing at Deloitte. We have a strategy that starts with the concept that you don't do what you don't measure. So we have clear measures around diversity and inclusion that we're aiming to achieve, clear goals, and we're holding ourselves accountable to achieving these goals. We have actions informed by data, informed by insights from leading academics, from best practices within our geographies that we are working on to create toolkits and material and policies and procedures to help really action our goals. But it's not just about programs, it's also about the culture that you create. You need a culture of respect and inclusion to really take advantage of diversity. So we have activities around leadership training in terms of inclusion, assessments of leaders with respect to their inclusive behavior. And in fact, that's the topic of our breakout this afternoon, is around inclusive leadership, if you're interested in hearing more about that. So there's a lot that we're doing internally. There's so much more we need to do. There's a lot we can contribute to externally in terms of sharing our lessons, sharing our viewpoints. That's why we're here today as a strategic partner with the Women's Leader Global Forum. It's also why we're really proud and excited to be collaborating, as Savannah said, with the Girls to Leader campaign this week. We certainly know that we need, as a business, but also in our role in society, to develop our next generations of leaders. It's incredibly important. We're doing that internally. It's not just about hard skills, it's about soft skills. I heard several people mention that yesterday. Leadership, teaming, collaboration, critical thinking, all of that is incredibly important. And so we've married our social impact initiative with our desire to really positively impact society in terms of reskilling and education, and we call that initiative World Class. We've made a commitment to impact 50 million futures by 2030. So I'll turn it back to you, Silvana.
Thank you, Michelle. Very impressive to hear about the commitment and the importance you attribute to this. And thank you for sharing that. I think it's a huge encouragement also for women to see how kind of a welcoming in corporations is there for this generation. I think it's probably different to when we were their age, if I may say. Yeah. And so that's what women leaders advancing in corporates can also help create. Maybe 2 more really interesting statements from future leaders. Lauren, turning to you. I met you this summer actually, in Lithuania, and we had a casual conversation about ice cream, about the weather in Lithuania, and then I was just like, just the thing you asked, like, what do you do? And then she explained to me that she's developing, correct me if I'm wrong, an algorithm for reproducing organs to better scale this, because right now, as you explained to me, maybe I've completely sorted wrong, correct me again, that so far it's too slow because every organ, kidney, liver, what have you not, needs to be reproduced by very slow procedures on stem cells or something, or cell reproduction, and you say, we need to do this faster. So she went onto her computer and is doing an algorithm, and in the future, it's Lauren who got chuk, and we'll have a new kidney. So super honored to have you here. And what's your perspective for what's the broader perspective for girls to be leaders?
Well, thank you. So my name is Lauren, and I'm 22, and currently I'm an electrical engineer at a company called Deca Research and Development, which is where I'm doing some of this work Silvana talked about. If you haven't heard of us, we invented the Segway, and right now, as Silvana mentioned, I'm working on a project building technology to enable the scalable manufacture of human organs, and to making that a reality. And it's not quite a computer algorithm. As an electrical engineer, I'm working on sensing technologies, leading up to automation for this process. And the slow process that Silvana was talking about is simply that the biology has existed for quite a long while in terms of our ability to generate little organoids and tissues in the lab. But the problem is it's very manual. And in order to scale, you can't keep it a manual process, and so that's what my work currently is. And I wanted to make some comments on, to follow up on what Michelle said, on developing the workforce of the future and how we can take the young women of today and turn them into the leaders of tomorrow. I think that we do a relatively good job of bestowing skills upon young women, but I think what we need to do more is to show them what those skills can let them do. For example, I mentioned I'm an electrical engineer, but I'm working on a biology project. And if I had set out to work in biology, and I had majored in biology, for example, I wouldn't be able to do my current job because it involves a lot of automation, and it involves a lot of technical abilities that I probably would not have had as a biologist. And indeed, that is the reason that this revolution in biomanufacturing has not occurred yet, because the biologists need to partner with the engineers in order to make this happen. And so I just like to have everybody here consider, in terms of, I guess, thinking about your own occupation, thinking about where you are in your career. One of the things that has been most impressed upon me and attending these conferences, Girls 20, as Silvana mentioned, I was the 2016 United States delegate to the Girls 20 Summit, which is a parallel and joint summit to the G20 Summit. But in coming to that conference and the conferences like these, I've encountered women at various stages in their career, and I think that we all look to the people at the top, the heads of state, the business executives, and we aspire to be them. But I realize that even though I'm just beginning my career, I can inspire the more women that are younger than me, the women that come after me. And I think that I would wager that even the women at the top might have aspirations that they have yet to fulfill. And I would like everybody here to consider where they are in their careers and how you all can inspire the women that follow in your footsteps. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lauren. And I can only say you're not only an inspiration to younger women, you're an inspiration to older women. Like myself, very humbled to have you, to be here with you. Thank you for your words of incredible wisdom, right? I can say that without sounding too old. So, Megan, over to you. So you're from Running Start, and you're sort of on the fast track to become US president, right? You already conquered Capitol Hill. You have a job there recently. And so give us your view on women future leaders.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Hard to follow up, Lauren. Oh, my goodness. I'm 25. I'm Megan, and I'm from the United States. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. And as mentioned, I'm a legislative aide for a congressman from Northeast Ohio. So I, on a daily basis, do a fraction of the work that Lauren has done in probably a day. Just kidding. It was a joke. So I'm a delegate with Running Start. It's a nonprofit organization that helps young women really find their passion and their purpose through politics. I am far from the norm. When I was in second grade, I knew that I wanted to be the first president of the United States. As an 8-year-old, I was a little off with my timeline. I said by 2020, and if you know anything about the U.S. Constitution, I will not be old enough by then. But I really did see myself in a career in politics and public service, knowing how much you can do through your service in government, and especially representative democracies. So when I was, in middle school and high school, got really involved in service, and then I went to college and realized I didn't really have a lot of tools or an avenue to channel this passion and this drive to make change. Running Start actually came to my college and put on a training called Elect Her. It's a day-long training and workshop for women who are thinking about running for office but don't really have the tools to do so. So we talked about making your elevator pitch, public speaking, developing your platform, all the things that you need to do to become a successful politician. So sure enough, I took those tools and I ran for student body president at my institution, and I won. So that was my first time, thank you, winning office. It was an incredible opportunity to serve my community. But again, I'm far from the norm. We know that women lose their political ambition by the time they're in middle school. Again, in middle school is when they lose their drive to run and win. American University conducted a study a couple years ago. It's called Girls Just Want to Not Run. And if you want to look it up, yep. But they identified 5 real factors that are preventing women from, young women especially, from seeing themselves in politics and public service. Among those are just lack of encouragement. We now know from political science and other fields that women has to be asked 7 times before they think that they're qualified to run for office. Young girls especially just never have that encouragement. Young men see themselves and say, of course, I'll be the next president of the United States. There's only a few of us Megan Pierces out there who say we're going to be the first woman. So we really have to do more to be telling young women that they can see themselves in public service and in government. Among others are that women don't play competitive sports as often as men. I think that that's not true. My sister is a really competitive athlete among many of my other friends, but women just aren't in those fields that really teach them to be competitive, to want to win, or at least they're not given the encouragement when they are in those sports. So my point in bringing this up is that there are things that we can be doing on a daily basis to encourage young girls especially to see themselves in public life, but then also to give them the tools at an early age to run and then eventually win. So my purpose and what my vision is really about representation and increasing parity for women in government. But that starts obviously with the girls of today and showing them that they are the representatives in themselves. So thank you so much for allowing me to have this opportunity.
Wonderful. Thank you, Megan. You have my vote. I can't vote in the US, but maybe by the time you're a candidate, maybe I change citizenship or so and vote for you. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing these thoughts and your insights. A very quick comment from Michelle and then Rihati before we finish off on these amazing statements of these amazing young women.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm an optimistic person. I think it's a wonderful time to be a woman in business, a woman in the world. It's not that I think everyone has heard or buys into the case for the importance of women in leadership, but I think we've made so much progress recently. I see more and more men and women collaborating, having a passion towards the topic of gender equality and inclusion. I recently read an article that said when businesses used to state their goals for gender equality, they were met with applause. And today they're just met with impatience. Impatience because you're going to get only how far, and it's going to take you so long. And I know that at Deloitte, that impatience is really driving us to sprint ahead towards what we're doing. So I'm very optimistic. And I'm also optimistic because when you get the chance to meet these young women, as I have, you get really excited about the future because you know you're sprinting as hard as you can, but you're going to have to hand that baton off. And these are a really great set of women to hand that baton off to, and they're going to run even faster than we are to drive the change we want, I believe.
Thank you, Michelle. Rihati.
Yes, it's really inspiring listening to all of them. You can see that how they start lead by example, you see, and how the leader should have a commitment, responsibility, and then trust. This is what we should do. Besides that, we do a caring, sharing, and loving. We should have a commitment, like they have a commitment to be here, and then responsibility, what you are ever doing, and your commitment, and then you will gain trust. By trust that you can be there. So this is my...
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And just to final lead like a girl is the slogan of this campaign, but it very much includes boys. It's the attitude. Lead like a girl is an attitude. And if any boy feels like he can do that, he's very, very welcome to join this campaign. Big round of applause, please, for these wonderful, wonderful women. Thank you.